Hi guys, thank you for joining me again. This time I have Shadows on the Ice, the 1972 Andes disaster. And this one's a graphic novel, so it was written and illustrated by three people, Bertocchini, Dieti, and Nino. So on the 13th of October 1972, a plane going from Uruguay to Chile, carrying a rugby team, crashed in the Andes Mountains, leaving the survivors to try and survive for weeks, unsure if anyone was or could come to rescue them. Intense cold, hunger, thirst, and despair gripped the team as they resorted to eating the dead to stay alive. This comic commemorates the 50th anniversary of this true story and is a Junior Library Guild selection. Black Panel Press is a Canadian indie graphic novel publisher, which prints some really interesting titles. Founded in 2017, their titles include imports from Europe, amongst other things, which disrupt the concept that comics are all about superheroes or have that one particular art style. The books have a really vibrant look, and while some of them feature kind of a kooky and fun art style, like this one called A Pill Bug or Inhuman Trials, they kind of look quite modern and sort of interesting. Others focus on stories like this one, based on historical fact, like Al Capone or the Gallic War. Personally, I recommend picking up some graphic novels and mixing them into your reading. They're fascinating, they're very creative. I think they're just a great thing to mix into your reading, especially if you're in a bit of a reading slump. But I also like to review them now and then because I know for some readers, they're a more accessible type of reading because with the pictures and things like that, it kind of helps some types of people to enjoy reading. I love that this publisher is bringing some great titles to the public in this accessible reading space. Shadows on the Ice is itself a really beautiful book. The art style captures a sense of movement and also of a slightly older era and style as the events take place in the early 70s. But the book or the look of the art style isn't super 70s in itself. I really liked the choice of duochrome colors. Mostly the book has soft beige with two other colors on each page, often gray or burgundy or sort of blues, those kinds of colors. And it gives a sense of mood and darkness to the events of the book. It looks very good. It's very stylish, but it's also a great choice for the storytelling. It really helps create a sense of atmosphere and almost a sense of doom in some ways too. The story of this flight and its passengers' fight for survival may be known to you if you're into true crime, because although it's not a crime story, it's often covered by podcasts and reports in that space. And of course, the movie from 1993, Alive, and the book it's based on were very well known in their time as well. Here, the comic shares the story in a way that's sometimes quite dramatic. The dialogue was a little teledrama in some places for me, but it's not sensationalized. The focus is not just on the events, but the humanity of the people involved and their friendship and endurance. It's emotive and dynamic for a book about a plane crash, survival, and people who were forced to eat the dead to survive. It's really not too dark or gory either. So if you're a little bit concerned about that, it's definitely not disturbing or anything like that. It takes its subject seriously, but it's safe enough for younger readers, obviously with parental discretion. I get the impression that the book may have been translated from another language, just from the turn of phrase here and there. I think sometimes this felt slightly awkward, but it also kind of worked for the story in that the people involved were from Uruguay and not English. So I feel like this kind of helped get a sense of the way they might talk a little bit, if that makes sense to you. There's one or two small grammatical mistakes, two with one O instead of two O's, for example. I think the big flaws here in this were that the story sometimes felt a little disjointed and the characters or people depicted sometimes looked kind of similar to each other a little bit. I didn't have a clear idea of who was who in the book. And I think a title page at the start with a little bio or like details of everyone on the flight and a small little drawing of their face would have actually been really cool, give it a little impact or maybe help the reader. But overall though, I thought this was a really interesting read. I like this idea of comic books used to tell stories like this. It's something a bit different and it is a really beautiful book. It would make an excellent gift or a gateway into reading for some people if you're trying to interest somebody in reading. The story of Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 is such a fascinating story of humanity and courage, and of course, darkness and survival, but it's also one of friendship, how the people involved kept going and helped each other. It's a story with heart that we can all take heart from. And also, just as a side note, it really blows my mind that most of the people on the plane had never seen mountains or snow before, because Uruguay is quite flat. And when they went through this, so they had no sort of instinct or knowledge of how to survive in this kind of terrain. So it's a pretty amazing story. So read this one if you want to diversify your reading. This graphic novel or others from this publisher would be great for you. If you're looking for a gift for the younger reader who's interested in history or true stories, this would also be a great idea. And thank you to Black Panel Press for the copy of this book for review. And thank you for watching and joining me for another foray into books. Join me in the comments if you would like to chat a little bit about this book, and subscribe if you want to know when my next review comes out. And thank you for watching.